Paltrocast. Brent, you have a fantastic new film to talk about. So let's talk about that first. But before we get that, how are you today?
I'm great. I'm having a great day. I love talking about this movie.
Right. Lord of Misrule. When did you actually finish it?
Um, Gosh, we finished it like um a year and a half ago, a year ago. Like finished, pretty much. And and then yeah, and then it's just, I mean, that's the thing about a movie is sometimes it the amount of time it takes, certainly from conception to completion, it's crazy. And it's that's why it's so nice to be able to talk about it here today with you. Is we're all really proud of it, and excited for people to finally see it.
Now, a prior film of yours got the Halloween costume treatment. Are you thinking that far ahead with Lord of Misrule?
I mean, yes, for sure. And if anything, I guess it people can dress like people at the festival, but certainly we're creating like the Lord of Misrule, the mask. um it's our opportunity as filmmakers to try to craft something unique and hopefully iconic and memorable. And so that's always the challenge, but like the fun part of it is pushing limits with the artists and the conceptual artists and the guys that mold and craft the entire mask. And it's one of my favorite parts of making a movie is the design of it all. So yeah, I think I would love for people to jaunt around and like the Lord of Misrule.
Right. Like filmmaker Mel Brooks said, merchandising.
Yes.
Yeah. So who was the first star of this film who came on board?
Tuppence Middleton was the first actor who signed on when we were, when I was in London. And she's just a incredible collaborator. It's like she's, there's different type of actors, and sometimes they become involved in the script, and sometimes they just want to show up and hit their mark. And it's like she was extremely invested in the character and the story,
Mhm.
and was, it was amazing to work with her.
When we go through your credits, you're a writer, director, and a producer. Very rarely are people all three. Like the person who writes it might go, I don't want to be that close to the filming, that kind of a thing. In your case, do you clearly know, hey, I want to do all three of them? Or is it somebody backs out and you go, okay, fine, I'll direct?
Oh no, I mean, I used to say, um like, I'm a filmmaker. I'm not a writer, director, producer. I edit almost all the movies too.
Hmm.
Or I certainly either edit or co-edit, or sometimes but I'm always involved in editing. Meaning I have my own Avid that I'm working on. So I love the whole process. It's from beginning to end, and even the marketing and the stuff we're doing now. I love all this stuff. Um, so so for me, a movie's about the process. It's the whole thing. I don't I definitely don't look at it as any one of those aspects. So yeah, I like the idea of to me it's just all the same thing.
Hmm. Now, to us, it's a new movie. To you, it's something you wrapped more than a year and a half ago, aside from doing press now. Do you know what the next project is? And I'm not asking for the exclusive, but are you one of those filmmakers that goes, oh, I see three films down the line?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think we have it lined up. We'll shoot two movies this year, 2024 in the UK. I mean, it makes it a little easier because I'll just slip right back with my crew from Lord of Misrule, and everybody's like just ready to make another movie. And these two particular movies can be set anywhere, sort of. So we can set it there. So yeah, I definitely am always thinking of kind of the next project and the last project and the current project. You know.
It's great to see that you've been on a roll with UK related productions because sometimes visas are difficult, there's travel restrictions, etc. But and this isn't necessarily a question, more of a common observation. You kind of found your footing the way in the UK that a lot of musicians did. So, for example, Jimi Hendrix had to move to England to make it. In
Yeah.
your case, standing out in a great way.
Yeah, I mean it's a super inspiring area. I mean London and then everywhere. And the history and the architecture, just everything about it is it's just inspiring, and the people there take that for granted, to it, not in a bad way, but they don't realize how inspiring it is, but it comes through in their work. And so to be around that, we were gonna, next time we were gonna do the sound mix at Abbey Studios, or Abbey, is it Abbey Studios?
Abbey Road, yeah.
Abbey Road. And that's where we'll do it next time. Because it's just like I said, it's an inspiring place. Everywhere you look, the camera could be filming anything, and it's gorgeous and haunting and has a dark history, like it's so going back there, it felt like home in a way. And it certainly feels like the most inspiring place for me to make movies.
Now, question on a different angle. Going through your Instagram, there's only one person who got a proper obituary posting within the last couple of years, and that was Eddie Van Halen, who you refer to as the greatest of all time. Did you ever try and license a Van Halen song for any of your projects?
No. I usually the movies don't the movies I've done don't have, they don't lend themselves to that type of music. Orphan First Kill, we had Maniac. That was fun to be able to find that song. This movie has some needle drops, but they're very specific folk songs. So no, I haven't. I was just watching a bunch of footage of him yesterday. It's funny you say that. And but I definitely would. Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned him, because I was really thinking about him yesterday.
Well, I have a book coming out in about 6 weeks about David Lee Roth. So anytime something Van Halen related happens, it comes to the top of the algorithm.
Yeah, there you go.
Feed and all that. I mean,
Oh
you could put
man.
Mean Street or Atomic Punk in a future movie.
Well, that's what I was looking at yesterday, was Mean Street. They talk about that's maybe the hardest lick he ever created for
Oh, so
people
you're watching
to.
the Stern Joe Satriani thing? Is that what
I
I'm
was
hearing?
watching that, and I watched a bunch of some other stuff. And I mean, we won't get into it now, but it's like I could geek out about it. But yeah, I think that all those are, because they're very unique pieces of work that are all stemmed from a classical background, right? So being able to pull those in to a modern movie like Lord of Misrule, the way that people have done that with like Westworld and pulling in Nirvana, and it's an exciting thing to do. It's expensive, so it has to count, but it can, Maniac, was worth it in Orphan First Kill, and I think the right songs, and even in this movie, it wasn't big famous music, but Sam Lee, who created the two folk songs that are sung in the movie, it was super important to use his voice.
So that's the follow-up question that I have before I let you go. And that's, some directors, the soundtrack is like the fifth or sixth thing. And then other directors, they have temp music and they go, we want it to sound exactly like this, and they edit to the music, etc. So in your process, where does the music usually factor in? Is it towards the end or all along?
Well, it's all along. I'm pretty specific about the music and the score. And like I said, Brett Detter, who has done 6 movies with me. We have a very fluid relationship on how we work on the movies. And so there'll be times he'll create score suites, which are like 15-minute segments that just play around with stuff that I'll have in pre-production. And then, yeah, there's a lot of stuff I listen to. Like in the case of this movie, I listened a lot to Sam Lee. He was very inspirational. And then when we got into editing the movie, I was using his music, and then trying to figure out a way to replace it. And then one of the producers was like, well, I know him, or my brother knows him. Why don't we call him up? And then him and I ended up writing a song together for the closing credits. And we used one of his songs at the beginning. So the music that was inspiring me during pre-production was the music that ended up in the movie. So it varies, but it's definitely really important and integral to me, is the how the scores used and what it is. I'm not very good at just handing that over completely and hoping for the best.
But for the record, it's never Van Hagar that you use as your inspiration. It's always classic Dave Van Halen.
Yes.
Well, Brent, thank you for another great film, and really looking forward to those 2 features in 2024 that you're helming, etc. Thank you for the great art, and keep being you, more or less.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. I'm looking forward to your book.
Oh, hey, we'll have to send. I'll keep it on the record here. We'll send you a copy. Your team will get in touch with, and then we'll get it done.
Is it called? Is it called Dave Van Halen?
It's called DLR book: How David Lee Roth Changed the World. He changed the world. Let's face it.
I love you saying Dave Van Halen, though. That's fitting in a way, right?
If I see a future character, one of your scripts named Dave Van Halen, I'll let it slide. Okay.
Yeah.
Paltrocast.